I hope you love the steel drums because I sure do. And this is my friend, the late, great Ken Professor Fillmore. This song is entitled Missing You. I'm going to play his favorite song in a few minutes. We got about 8 minutes before the top of the hour. This was Community Drive Time. It's always a pleasure spending time with you guys. And we want you guys to stay tuned to this young man who's coming on the air with Miss Marian Dozier for cocochats. Just stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Enjoy the rest of my show and then get locked on for some good information. Community Drive Time, Super Jams Radio, 103.7 FM on your dial. I just want to give a big shout out, a big happy birthday to 3 men in my life. First is my nephew, Valjean. He's all the way in New York. Happy birthday to you, Val. My brother, George, also in New York. Happy birthday to you, big brother. And of course, to Mr. Vibes himself, Vibes Boss. Happy birthday to you. Enjoy this music. This is just for you. Passion, baby, passion. You see how the Trini accent come out? I want to thank you guys for tuning in this show with me. Of course, Marsha Guthrie came in and she shared her nuggets, her golden nuggets. Every 2 weeks, she's here with Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County, representing the Caribbean very, very well. Miss Marsha Guthrie, big up to you. From Jamaica, Yardie woman, and boss lady in charge of her division at Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County. Thank you so much for always sharing, working with us in 2020, and just sharing and helping us get through this time. And of course, we want you guys to stay tuned for Coco Chats coming up in another couple minutes. And tomorrow, don't forget to tune into Drive Time with Jillian and James. James is off this week, so he'll be on the turntables with me. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Stick and stay. Thanks. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, and good evening, everyone. And thank you for tuning into Coco Chats with me, your host, Marian Dozier of CocoWire.net, the website that provides news, events, and useful information to communities of color in Palm Beach County. That's CocoWire.net if you want to know what's happening here with us in Palm Beach County. And as we do on this show and on CocoWire.net, we will continue to tell the stories of our communities of the African diaspora, which, as I'm sure y'all are aware, are African Americans, Caribbean Blacks, and Native Africans, so that we all get a better sense of how rich and interesting our communities are. All right, including today. That's because today's guest is a businessman. He's a former elected official who seeks to serve again, and he's also Bahamian. Calvin Turnquest moved here from Freeport, Grand Bahama at age 19 in 1989, primarily to go to college, and he did earn his bachelor's and master's degree in chemistry from the University of Miami, and 14 years after arriving, he was granted his U.S. citizenship. And then, in 2007, he ran successfully for Tequesta's Village Council, a seat he would hold until 2012 when he resigned to run for the Florida House. He also ran for the U.S. Congress in 2014, and most recently in 2020, i.e. this year, he ran for the Palm Beach County Board of Commissioners. Now, unfortunately, he lost each one of those races. But now, while all of that was going on, he's also been working as an international business consultant, as a real estate agent, and as a trauma technician at 2 major hospitals. He currently serves as a founding president of the Turnquest Consulting Group, which helps facilitate international business, personal and governmental transactions with the Bahamas, of course, and the rest of the Caribbean and Latin America. And did we say, ladies and gentlemen, that he's also a Republican?
Yes. I love Republicans.
Okay, Calvin Turnquest, elected official, international businessman, Bahamian. Welcome to Coco Chats. Yay!
All those job titles, someone said, you must be a Jamaican with many jobs.
And you know, it's funny you say that because when I went to Sunbiz to check it out and I saw so many things in your name, I said, you know what, this dude must be from Jamaica. But then, you know, all you Caribbeans, I think, are like that. You know, y'all are, well, maybe that's just how all of us, you know, people of color are, maybe. Yes.
That's right.
So even though I want to know lots of other things first, the one thing I do want to know is how did you end up living in Tequesta? Because that's like, have you ever even been there, Miss Jillian? Tequesta? Okay. Go ahead, sir. How'd you end up living there, Mr. Turnquest? I'm just curious.
It was by happenstance. I had a weekend off, which I rarely ever do, and I was just driving through because someone told me about Jupiter.
Yeah.
And I never been to Jupiter. I thought it must be some back hick country place. So I drove to Jupiter, and I was like, wow, this is nothing what I thought about.
Right.
And then I drove across the bridge, and I saw Welcome to Tequesta. So I started driving to this little town, looking at
I
things.
know.
And the thing that caught my attention was I saw kids on bicycles riding with fishing poles. And it reminded me of home, because that's how we do it at home.
Yeah.
That was it.
Very
That was
water.
it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Water-based
I was
culture.
hooked.
Yeah.
I was hooked. So I stopped at the bridge, and I watched these kids on their little boats and on the bridge just fishing and jumping in the water and playing around. I'm like, that's what I used to do when I was home. So it
Aww.
must be nice.
You find home?
So I found home. I found a place that was small, quaint, remind me of home. So I bought a place, and there I've been.
And how long have you been there? Like, well, at least
That's
since.
2004.
Yeah.
16 years, yeah.
Okay. Right. So tell me, what is this interest that you have in governmental service? And I know, but you know what? Maybe it's because so much of your family in the Bahamas, I have learned, they serve in government, and some of them are even elected officials. Is that why? Because that's like part of your.
No, that is true. My
Yeah.
family has been serving in public office before I was born. It started with my uncle Orville, who was the Governor General of the Bahamas.
Mm.
And then my dad was also the attaché to our first Bahamian Governor General, Samala Butler.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it was ending from before I was born, and then subsequently every generation thereafter has had elected officials. Right now, I have 5 cousins serving in Parliament.
Wow.
4 on my father's side, the Turnquest side, and then 1 in my mother's side, the Patton side.
Because, I did see, I know a lot about Freeport, but there was a guy there, Peter Turnquest. Is he some kin to Calvin Turnquest?
Yes, Peter's my cousin.
Oh, okay.
So, that
And he had been the deputy prime
He was
minister.
the deputy
and
prime
the-
minister and the minister of finance.
Right.
And but now he stepped down as deputy prime minister, and I'm looking to replace him. But now he's just now he's the minister of finance.
Yeah. So,
Just
and we're not gonna ask.
No big deal.
No big deal.
But I mean, so is that why you're so interested in governmental service? Is because of your family's backstory, or?
Actually, I tried to avoid it.
Oh,
Growing up in the
you didn't do a
Bahamas-
good job, sir.
No, it's like growing up in the Bahamas when your father's involved in it and it takes him away from the family. When I came here, I thought, I don't want to do that because I knew how much time it takes from you and the effort to put in and the family. So I started a business in Tequesta. I owned a gym in Tequesta. And
Oh, I saw. Yeah, wellness
the
center.
Wellness Center.
Yes.
The Wellness Center of Tequesta. And I, when my father taught me that when you do
You
a
see
business,
his
find
shoulders.
a niche for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I limit the age group to 35 and older. 2
Oh.
reasons. One, they pay on time until they don't break the equipment. Okay, so I
Yeah,
limit that
yeah.
age group. But running that business for about 3 to 4 years, the residents of Tequesta came to me and asked me to run for office.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's really doing a good job.
I know, right? So the thing they didn't tell me was that they were putting me up against a former mayor.
Uh-oh.
But I told them about my history and told them I didn't want to do this, but they persisted in asking me, and I said, I'll do it. I'll give it one good shot, and if I don't win, leave me be to run my business. If I do, I'll do the best job I can. But I didn't tell my parents I was running for office. It was
Right.
just like nothing. So when I ran, I won in Tequesta.
And that was in 2002.
2007. I won.
2007, I'm sorry. Okay.
I won with 67% of the votes.
Wow.
First time running, and
That's crazy.
And why did you run as a Republican?
it's what I growing up in the Bahamas. The party that my family was associated is the conservative party in the Bahamas. It's called the Free National Movement. We call it the FNM. The other party, the name speaks for itself. It's called the Progressive Liberal Party. So when I came over here, I looked at the parties that represented my values and that I could relate to.
Yeah.
That my family be proud of me being associated with.
Right.
And it was the Republican Party, and I've been a Republican ever since I was eligible to vote from the very first day, and I've voted in every single election since.
Super photo.
So when I called my dad after I won the election, and I told him, Dad, I ran an election and I'm now a public servant. He looked at me and said, I'm not surprised. What do you think I was training you for all those years? So I remembered as a kid, when my dad would go to meetings at Government House, he would take me with him. And he would say, sit down, listen, don't say anything because I'm going to quiz you on who was there, what they were talking about when we going back home. So, looking back at it now, he was training me to be a diplomat and a statesman from back then, and I carry that with me now.
Back then, how were you responding when your dad said that? Were you just like, "What is he talking about?"
I'm like, I don't want to go with y'all. I'm gonna play with my friends outside.
Yeah, yeah, but now you get it.
But now I get it. I get it.
But what was interesting to me, I saw that when you were president of Palm Beach County Republican Party's Black Caucus in 2016. When our orange president decided he was going to run, don't get me in trouble for that.
Don't say that. Ladies and gentlemen, the opinions is not those of Super Jams Radio.
Correct. But in 2016, when he ran, you decided you resigned from the presidency of the Palm Beach County Republican Party's Black Caucus because he was running, because you did not support him and you were not going to vote for him. But what's the backstory there?
It was more than that. It was that during that whole Republican primary, I was supporting Marco Rubio. You see, we always say that America is built on the backbone of middle class America. We pay all the taxes, we keep America running and everything. And I related to Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio was a middle class guy, went to University of Miami. At the time,
immigrant.
At the time, I know, immigrant.
Yeah.
Son of immigrants. At the time, he was still paying back his student loans, and my house was worth more than his house. I'm thinking, okay, this is a guy I can relate to. And when I looked at the platform, he was the most intelligent Republican running in that field. Okay, so it took me aback when then candidate Trump used negative words and
and negative behavior.
It wasn't what I'm used to. I'm used to diplomacy. I'm used to people having debates and being cordial with each other. But when he called him Little Marco, I'm like, really, this isn't a reality show. This is people's lives. You're looking at being the leader of a country, and one day, if you win, you will have to work with these people. So don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
So when he became the nominee for the party, I was asked to not only support him, endorse him, write a check for him.
And you were like, oh, hold on.
In politics, you need to have a thick skin. You can't hold grudges. But then I held a grudge. I was like, no, not the way you treat my boy Marco. And I knew Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
Met him many times, and his district director is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't do this. So when the party came to me and said, we want you to turn I was like, I can't do that. And they said, well, you hold this position, you're supposed to support the party.
Right.
And I said, I support the party, but I can't support this man.
Okay.
So the media called me, and when I resigned, they called me and they asked me about it and everything. And I said,
yeah, I saw the story.
Right. I said, he'll probably get my vote, but he won't get anything else from me. And that was it.
So, but did you vote for him? If
I
you don't
did.
mind my asking.
I did.
You
vote
did?
For him. I did vote for him.
Oh my God! Did you have to hold your breath when you did it?
Well, looking back at the two candidates, I'm like,
yeah.
I voted for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder, as a Republican, what do you think about all the, people are saying that they want change, and there was all of this protest, this George Floyd stuff and all, that the Democrats are really supporting. I'm just curious, as a black man who has lived here as an immigrant, and I saw in your bio that you had some, interesting experiences here when you first came. But I'm just curious, what's your response?
Well, like I told a very good friend of mine, and you know him, Senator Bobby Powell.
Yes.
I'm black first.
Okay.
Can't change it. Okay? That's it.
Okay.
So anything that's going to promote us, support us, defend us, give us equal footing, equal grounding, I'm there to support 100%, but not at the price of compromising my principles.
And so what would indicate that, a compromise of your principles?
For instance, my father is a police officer. So is my brother, 2 cousins. I mean, I come from a law enforcement background.
And government support.
Right.
Government service.
So when you talk about going out there and protesting law enforcement officers with a blanket, with a broad brush, I can't do that. I can't do that because, I know what they go through. I know what my brother goes through when he puts a uniform on. I know what my father went through when he used to put his uniform on. So there are good apples in every basket, and there are some bad ones, but you can't let the bad apples spoil the whole bunch.
I agree. And that was kind of what I was thinking as I was looking at all these protests. I'm thinking, all police officers are not bad just because they have white skin.
That's true.
Some of them are bad. I mean, there was probably some bad black ones.
There are
too,
some bad black ones too.
But still.
Yeah.
Yeah. But tell me, what do you think personally about this, Black Lives Matter movement and in the protests, related to George Floyd, for example? Just curious.
It's
as a Republican.
I think the movement had been hijacked.
In what sense? What do you mean?
I think it started on a good premise where, for instance, I'm going to get myself in trouble on this show.
Okay, but
no, really. But I don't mind. I've had my hand spanked by the party and other people lots of times. But people know that, one thing they can do is they can trust what I say, and I'll, my word is my bond.
It's honest.
And it's from an honest, and it's from a good place, not from a place of malice.
Right.
It started with Colin Kaepernick, right?
Right.
And I think that here's the thing. Give me something right now. I think it looks down upon when people of color want to protest. It's like the Constitution doesn't apply to us. So, and I had to go back and read on the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, and do my research, right?
And you actually did read
Yes.
the Constitution.
So here's the thing about the Constitution. When it was written and ratified, every signature on the Constitution, they owned slaves. Okay? When it was ratified, they owned slaves. Now, back then, slave was property, livestock. You can't give rights to livestock. So when the Constitution was written, we weren't in the thought of giving us those rights. Because, like I said, livestock don't have rights. So so for me, when I look at how people of color are treated when we protest peacefully, it's like you don't have the right. The Constitution doesn't protect you because it wasn't written for you. And that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
So Colin Kaepernick is kneeling, facing the flag as he kneels. To me, I look at that as a plea to see me, recognize me, honor who I am, and recognize my voice. It's a plea. Now, if he had kneeled or turned his back to the flag, I'm like, yeah, now you're disrespecting the flag. But someone stole that narrative from people protesting, inequality and brutality by police officers.
Brutality, right? And racial
now
injustice.
it's no longer, from what he started, it's now disrespecting the flag. I don't think it's disrespecting the flag.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he consulted a Marine who told him, when we pray, we kneel. When we ask him for something, we kneel. So he was, the Marine told him, don't sit on the bench. Kneel.
Okay.
We can support that. But the narrative was stolen.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Why do you think in those races that you ran, at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level, why do you think you didn't win? Now, I know in terms of the Palm Beach County Commission races that just happened, this year, you were up against some pretty well-known, names.
Yeah.
The woman who had had been in a seat before, and then there was one who was a golf professional, whatever. But I'm just kind of curious, why do you think you didn't win?
A buddy of mine told me once that the powers that be, the quote unquote kingmakers, they want people in office they could control. And he said, you've been doing things the way that you think you should do it best. And he said, they know they can't control you. So he said it's going to be difficult for you to get elected unless you kind of sell a part of you, which I refuse to do.
Did you say sell?
Yes.
Well, what does that mean?
That means I had a meeting with a quote unquote kingmaker here in Palm Beach County.
A kingmaker.
Kingmaker.
Okay.
And he asked me a simple question, and I answered honestly. He asked me, he said, "Are you corruptible, Calvin?" And I looked at him and I said, "For the right price, everybody is." And I said, "Yeah, I am." I said, "But don't think that if you raise $100,000 for me to run for a county commission, that I'm corruptible. No." He said, $1 million? No. $10 million? No. I said, here's the one thing my father taught me when I left the Bahamas. He said, if you're going to commit a crime, if you're going to break the law and be sent to jail, make sure that what you did, you can live off that when you come out, because you can't get a job, your reputation is done. But the thing he most told me was, and I remember this, he said, our name, the Turnquest name, is a brand, and that's what we have. Don't tarnish it, because when you do something and people remember that name, it reflects on all of us.
So wait a minute. Somebody would give you $10 million, but that would not be enough to corrupt you?
No, it won't corrupt me. $10 million can't corrupt me, because
why? It will probably corrupt me.
$10 million can't corrupt me, because the thing that I always think about when people ask me questions like that, or when I'm doing anything, we all know about this. I have a praying grandmother. She's 90 years old.
Aww.
And the thing that would break my heart is for me to go home, look in her face, and see disappointment. That would kill me. Because I'm the oldest grandchild from her. I mean, when my mother was in college, she raised me while my mother was in college. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
So I grew up with my aunts and my grandmother thinking that was my mother, because she raised me. My mom was in college getting her education and doing what she had to do.
Right.
So my grandmother is my heart, my life. So for me to do something to disappoint her, to break her heart, I mean, no. And right, I don't have kids.
Yeah.
And my grandmother told me that she's not dying until I give her one.
Oh.
So for me to break a heart like that, to know that the way that I was raised, for me to do something to tarnish my reputation, tarnish our name, and go sent to prison, it ain't worth it.
Well, let me ask you this. Even though the last 3 races that you ran, you lost, would you consider running again?
Oh, it's in my DNA. I can't resist it. Being on the city council in Tequesta, when I got elected and got sworn in, and I was sitting on the dais debating and working with my fellow council members and doing the work inside the city and seeing the immediate impact of what I was doing, I got the bug, because you know how we all have skills, talents, gifts that we were born with, innate abilities. And it wasn't until I was sitting on that council and doing the work of the people that I felt at peace. I'm like, all these years I was running from what I was
who you
meant
truly
to
are.
do and who I am. And have I been successful in other things? Yeah. But I wasn't at peace and happiest unless I was sitting up there doing the work of the people and debating. So I found what I was supposed to be.
But what's really interesting is, like, every time there is an election, like let's say, in last month, all of the incumbents always win. So the competitors, I think last time at the county, at the state, at the federal level, there was only one incumbent who did not win. And you know who that was.
Yeah.
State Rep Al Jaquette, because he was beat by Amari Hardy.
Correct.
Whom he called the Batty Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just astounding to me. But anyway, so I'm just wondering, as an opponent yourself, you're not an incumbent, I mean, that doesn't kind of push you away and make you say, oh, no.
No, not at all, not at all. My father told me that if there is someone who is in leadership that you cannot follow, then get up and remove them and be the leader that everyone wants to see. So if I'm running against someone, it's because I think that they're not doing the best job possible, and I think that I can do a better job and that I can represent my community in a better way, all encompassing. You know, it's not like I'm just going to go there and just represent Republicans. I can't do that, because when I'm elected to represent everyone in my constituency, everyone in my district.
Right.
So if I have a Democrat come to me in my office with an issue, I'm going to do my best to serve them, because that's who I'm supposed to serve, my
Right.
entire community.
Yeah. But do you think the reason why you weren't elected those 3 times is because you're a black Republican?
Not at all, because I'm the only black man living in Tequesta and I got elected.
Good point. And then that's a heavily Republican city and district up there.
Yeah, but
too.
you know,
Yeah.
in municipal elections,
Yeah.
they're nonpartisan. So I was able to
Good
win.
point. Back
Yeah,
then.
back
yeah.
then.
But now, yeah. So I'm just also curious, because we've only got a few more minutes. You ever thought about moving back to the Bahamas?
I thought about it. My father told me no.
Oh, why?
He said I could do more for the Bahamas being here than being a big fish in a small pond.
Interesting.
And he said that the Bahamas isn't ready for me. He said that with my ideals and the way I see the world and the way I've been, he said the Bahamas isn't ready for the change that I would bring if I come back home. Because if I go back home to live, I'm running for parliament.
Because that's who you are.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
But now, you know, I don't know. That's really interesting too, because when I think about, you know, Caribbeans living here, y'all, the Bahamians, I think are more assimilated than anybody else. And as I've, you know, learned about the history of Palm Beach County, you know, y'all were here, you know, very early on, like, especially when, for example, when Riviera Beach had this really huge fishing industry, and y'all, Bahamians were some of the founders. You know, they were there when Riviera Beach was founded. So it's always really, you know, interesting.
Not only that, but the city of Miami, their charter, the names of the black citizens who signed that charter to make Miami a city,
Yeah.
they were all Bahamians.
That is so interesting. But y'all are so highly assimilated, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got an accent, but there are so many who don't. You know, they've been here for decades and stuff. I think that is so interesting.
Well, I take pride in where I come from, you know, and it's not like, you know, I left the Bahamas and left my culture and my upbringing back there. I still hold it over here too, but, you know, I still carry myself. Right now, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I'm a Bahamian.
But does it seem to you that Bahamians are more assimilated than most Caribbeans?
Yeah, because we're closer.
Yeah.
We're
And
closer.
y'all have been here much longer.
Much longer. I mean,
Yeah.
from Jansen Beach, they founded places in Jansen Beach, you know, places in Martin County, you know, down to Stewart, here in Palm Beach County, going all the way down to the Keys. There are names of, no kidding, there are names of white folks in the Keys that I know are Bahamian names.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I was really surprised to learn that too, that I think there were 29, I think it was like 29 people that voted when Riviera Beach was first created back in 1922. And I think if not a majority of them, a large proportion of that number were Bahamians.
Yeah,
You know, from one water-based culture to another, I guess.
that's what it is, yeah.
How often do you visit home?
I used to go home every 3 months because I'm the only one here. My entire family is there. My parents, my siblings, my cousins.
In Freeport or
Freeport
primarily?
and throughout Freeport, Nassau, Long Island,
Okay.
the Abacos, yeah, all
the-
over.
all the big
So
cities, yeah.
my family still lives there. I'm the only one here.
Okay. Wow. All right. Now, as we're about to close, I want to ask you this question.
Put me on the spot.
Is it?
As if you haven't done it already.
No. I was going to ask you if there is anything about the USA or about its system here that you don't like or that you push back against or that you want to change, you know, if you get into elective office.
Oh, that I don't like, that I want to change. Well, I'll tell you this. I am going to run again for the county commission. I am. I am going to run again for the county commission.
Good for you.
And one of the things I would like to change on that board is how they elect the mayor of the county.
Oh.
It's automatically assumed that the vice mayor becomes the mayor. That in itself breeds an element of improprieties. Could be because I'm not saying that it's happening right now,
Yeah.
but if I know that I'm going to be the mayor next because I'm the vice mayor, don't you think people are now coming to me and talking to me, asking a little bit of favors here and there because I know I'm going to be the mayor? It just happens. I mean, it's human nature. It can't be helped.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. Good point. All right. Well, we're just about out of time, Mr. Turnquest. Let people know how they can get in touch with you, or if you're on social media. I'm
on all social media, from Facebook to what my goddaughter says, old people social media, Facebook. So I'm on Facebook. It's just my name.
Yeah.
Calvin Turnquest on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. I am on all of them. Just go. My name is Calvin Turnquest. That's it.
Yeah, and you've got lots of news stories about you too, sir.
Good and bad, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, mostly good.
Mostly good.
Mostly good.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, we're just about out of time here. But
I'm surprised you just invited me on this show. I mean, this has been here for what, 3 years? I'm just hearing about it.
Yeah, this is the network going into the 3rd year.
Super Jams Radio.
Wonderful.
Loving it.
Did you listen to it as you're coming in?
I did not. I was preparing myself for this.
Oh, yes.
Got to get in the zone.
Yes. But yeah, it's really good, and it's really strong, and they do a really good job. And as I said earlier, I like the fact that it's locally owned.
Yeah.
And you could put your hands on them.
That's how I like it.
Let's try to do that now. Some music.
I like this is what we shutting the place down.
I guess
we
I don't.
It out.
Well, I guess we can continue to talk, cause
hey, let's call it overtime.
Yeah, and that's the good news. Are you married?
Am I married? No.
No, you never were.
I was.
Oh, because I thought I did see, like, when I first met you some time ago, but y'all got a divorce.
Yeah.
Oh, how long were y'all married?
12 years. Been together about 18 since college.
Oh,
but
man.
It's, things happen. It doesn't work out, but we're still good friends.
Yep, and always will be, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we met when we were young, like 20, 21 in college, so it's grew together. But
so, and that was the other thing too. I wondered about. You remember when Hurricane Dorian hit here?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody in your family over there get affected?
Well, my mom lived on the island where it was hit hard, Grand Bahama in Freeport, and but she lived on high ground, so she didn't get much damage. The thing that hurt most was the island of Northern Abaco, where they sustained the most damage with Northern Abaco, and then the eastern end of Grand Bahama got hit really hard. But what I appreciated was that this community here, South Florida, just rallied around and did a lot to help the Bahamas rebuild, the Northern Bahamas rebuild. Mm-hmm. So, and it's still an ongoing process. Abaco still needs a lot of work. I am working a lot with the elected officials in Freeport and the Grand Bahama Port Authority. I'm their consultant. So,
really?
Yeah.
From here?
From here. So when they need something or when I see something, I go straight to them.
Hold on. So the commercial chipped in the last 30 seconds of your conversation.
Okay, so we're closed, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
You have to keep an eye on the commercial coming in. So
But see, I don't know. What am I looking at?
it was telling you, but you weren't looking at it.
What?
It was telling you.
No,
that
but am I looking up there or over there or?
So it's right
Give
now.
me a hot flash.
Yeah. Right now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you a chance to close out the conversation with him.
Nope. Oh, we did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we
Alright.
just.
We
I mean,
just
do you
chatted.
want to? I think we're good.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, the other DJ comes on at that time. All right. Give me a second, brother. All right, so basically what happened is,
So
Yeah,
you have
because
another
that guy
minute and
comes
48
on at
seconds.
6:30. Huh?
Another minute and 48 seconds. Another
No,
DJ
there's
came on.
another person on, but he's on from a satellite location.
Oh, it's remote
So they
location.
were hearing you up until the last. Once it came in,
Right.
you had about 8 seconds that broke off.
Boom. That's
So
okay.
Most of the conversation was done and.
Well, we had
recorded.
already closed. We just kept talking because I didn't hear the music.
Okay, all right,
So,
cool.
but we had already said, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so everything is good then. All right, so.
Okay, but I do need to take